Servus, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Aufgabe, The Clueless Drinker. Nicht richtig Deutsch. So, this could be the first of a few Oktoberfest related reviews. Don't have anything planned. I've not done anything really for a few years. Because I used to enjoy just like picking up the like Festbiers and then doing like a week of reviews, but that's when I actually put effort into my channel. But anyway, the less we talk about the better. So kicking things off with the Festbier from LIDL, clocking in at 5% ABV. Does it say where this was brewed? Let's see. This was brewed in is that Frankenthaler? Frankenthaler Brauhaus, I believe. But yeah, brewed with the finest ingredients. One thing that's always just not sat right with me was the sort of like Bratz style artwork on these cans. Yeah, just, I don't know, but you know, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I think I've already reviewed this from Lidl in years gone by. There was a wheat beer as well, and a Radler, which I wish I would have picked up, but I'm not going to waste my time on a wheat beer, to be honest. So I was in Lidl, and when one goes to Lidl, they were doing like their Alpenfest sort of like theme. So really interesting snacks, including like this like Stein shaped pasta, as well as the beers, and then you've got like the snacks, the cakes. They've even got like a sweet box, they call it, with all, if you've ever been to like Germany and you go to some of the stalls at the mini festivals within the cities and villages and stuff like that, there'll be like a store where you can get like you know, different nuts with caramel covered in chocolate, and like wafers with stuff like that. So they're doing a little box for quite a good price actually, with like the cones with like, what's it called, covered in chocolate, like mallow covered in chocolate, and mallow between wafers, one end dipped in chocolate, that sort of thing. And one thing that I was super happy about was the fact that they've got the Nürnberger Wurst again, which they used to sell all the time, but I don't know why Lidl have stopped doing that. Maybe they weren't big sellers, because maybe British sensibilities in this post-Brexit world don't like the idea of grey sausages, which you just fry them up, they brown up, and they taste fantastic. So they've got them, loads of different sort of like specialty meats, speck. They've got some interesting schnitzels, although I think schnitzel can be picked up regularly. Frozen pretzels, which is great, which I picked up a box of those, even though good friend Adam mentioned him a hell of a lot on the channel recently. Bought me like a pretzel making kit from Costco. And of course, picked myself up some from the freshly baked section. So I've got a little bit of a, it's like the saddest Oktoberfest celebration in the world, isn't it? Some German salami from Tesco's. The cheese is Gruyere, so we can look past that, but just imagine it's a soft, nutty German hard cheese. So that's my tea, and I thought I'd have it with a nice Festbier. So, rambly introduction over. Let's get this poured. Let's see what we get. I was going to use one of my like glass tankard glasses, but I didn't want to break it, so I'm using the glass from the greatest brewery in the world, who produce the finest, not only lager in the world, but the finest beer in the world, the Augustiner glass. Oh, what I would do to be back in Germany, But we won't go down that memory lane, which I often tread down on these videos. I'm sure Paul from PA Brewnews will breathe a heavy sigh of relief at that. And this is what I like to see from a Festbier. Down the Märzen sort of style, a little bit darker, a little bit more caramelly looking. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? A little bit annoyed that it doesn't fill to the top of the glass, but I could have poured it a little bit more aggressively. But doesn't that look pretty? Certainly does. Exactly what I want from a Festbier. I don't want just a repackaged, pre-existing sort of like Hellas lager, which might have a little bit more hop character in there. I want a good sort of like different beer. But that's just on the appearances alone. Did I say appearances or appearances? Or could I just say appearances? But yeah, certainly looks the part. Let's see what we get on the nose. And it's exactly that. It's a lot more sweeter. It's a bit more nuttier. You get slight more caramel sort of aromas. There is that sort of grassy, slightly spicy hop note coming through. It's got that quintessential muskiness. Oh, that smells absolutely fantastic. It really, really does. Anyway, enough of the waffling. Let's give it a taste. Prost. Oh yeah. Wow, wow, wow. That hits the right spot. It is really predominantly sort of like a dark, sweet character. Like slightly browned off sugar. Acca, caramel. Speaking of Acca, football's back on post big event that happened in UK. Won't say anything about that because I've already got myself into trouble on Facebook, even though I didn't really say anything that bad. But anyway. So I put a little cheeky accumulator on, even though I can't really afford to because I'm skint. And I get paid in like over a week's time. And I've got a trip to Rivington with some of the beer brethren who I've not really seen for ages. Including the legend that is Adam, aka Mersey Beers. I believe we shall be joined by Harry, Blino's Beer Reviews. Not sure if his good lady will be joining us. I know Rob from Hop Scene, who I've not seen for a hell of a long time. And I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be coming down. But a good trip to Rivington. Very much looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather holds off. But in that part of the country with those surroundings, I'm not too upset if I can get undercover and lose myself in greenery and rain, because let's face it, this summer has been pretty awful for people who don't like summers, aka normal people. That's just a joke. I'm not going to judge anyone because they like it warm. But anyway, back to the beer. That spiciness does come out a little bit more. There's a subtle hint of a citrus-esque note as well. Slight bitter finish. Finish is a tiny bit dry. Because, of course, it's a little bit darker. The body's got that little bit more heft to it than, let's say, you know, traditional sort of Hellas sort of style. It's not as bold as, like, let's say, a Keller beer, though, or a Land beer. It's fickle, if you want to be a ponce. And actually, the more I'm drinking it now, that sweetness that is there subsides a little and the hoppiness comes through to give it a really nice sort of like rye character. But not like really like pronounced spicy rye. Just like a modest, freshly baked German fry loaf. Fry loaf? Rye loaf. I've only had a few sips and I'm already slurring my words, but yeah, do you know what? Very happy with that indeed. And then one of the finest ever creations, the Pretzel. For a long time, speaking with my mouth full, For a long time, I could never find any pretzels in Lidl. And not a lot of supermarkets like do freshly baked or even frozen pretzels. Morrison's do, and they're quite nice. But I tell you what, when it's a little bit warm outside, get yourself a big pretzel, get yourself some nice shavings of like either Emmentaler or Macedama cheese, big stein of Hellas. You know, you can go to you can go to really sort of like expensive, highly rated sort of eateries, restaurants, whatever. I defy anyone, unless you really don't like this sort of thing, to find anything more satisfying than some cured meat, some nice cheese, some nice bread. Doesn't have to be pretzels, but yeah, this takes me back memory lane. We're not going to go down, don't worry. We're just peering through the window like Scrooge in Christmas Carol, which they had some of the Christmas like treats like the Lebkuchen. Although hopefully they'll do cinnamon stars, because they're like my favourite Christmas treat. Salami's really good. Brotzeit is sehr schön. Ist sehr, sehr schön. Any German language people watching this probably cringing like fuck. Oh man, that complements the beer so perfectly, because the beer's a little bit more hearty. And pretzels can have quite a strong flavour, especially if it's well salted. It all just works. And this is legitimately a fine example of a Märzen style Festbier. That sweetness coming from the beer itself complements a cheese like Gruyere, again, not German or Austrian or Bavarian or whatever, but again, you can find a German cheese that's like an equivalent to that. Saltiness of the pretzel, just works with that earthy hoppiness, and then the smokiness of the salami, which is actually really, really good, really flavoursome. Tesco's have done a really good job with this. It's beyond lekker. It really, really is. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer because you don't need to see me stuffing my face. But I am happier than a Schwein in Scheisse right now. So that was the Festbier, available at Lidl. Classic example of me now kicking myself, wondering why I didn't pick up a few more cans to enjoy during the week. I'm sure next time I go to Lidl, because there's one that's open quite close to me. Dangerous when you've got a little bit of money to spend. I'm sure I'll be able to pick that up again and yeah, this just works. So if I pick any other Fest beers or Oktoberfest beers, then I might try and be a pig on camera and match it with some form of relevant food. Very happy right now. So yeah, if you've tried the Festbier from Lidl, let me know what you think. Did you enjoy the Radler? Did you enjoy the wheat beer? What's your favourite German beer? Doesn't have to be lager, doesn't have to be specifically a Fest style beer or anything like that. Just let me know in the comments so I won't respond. Self-deprecation gets me through. Anyway, cheers for watching. Thank you for wasting your time. And yeah, hopefully I shall see you later with maybe some more German beers. Cheers.